Angeles City, Philippines. For decades, the name alone conjured images of energy, excitement, and a touch of the wild. A city that never seemed to sleep, pulling in visitors from all over the world. It could be gritty, and it was often messy, but it was always unapologetically alive. But if you walk these streets in 2025, you'll feel a different energy. The crowds are thinner. The constant buzz has softened to a quiet hum of caution. Foreign visitors, both from the West and from Asia, are packing their bags, and many aren't planning to come back. This isn't just about one city, it's a snapshot of a bigger challenge facing the entire Philippines. So, we decided to find out why a destination once loved by so many is now being given a hard pass. The Philippines has always been sold as a dream destination. It's a country that boasts stunning beaches, a rich culture, and some of the friendliest people you could ever hope to meet. For years, it was a must-see for travelers around the globe. So why, in 2025, is that dream starting to feel out of reach? While neighbors like Thailand and Malaysia are celebrating a tourism boom, the Philippines is struggling to keep pace. Data from the first part of 2025 shows international arrivals are lagging significantly behind its regional competitors. This isn't just a sluggish recovery, it suggests a deeper problem. And nowhere is this more visible than in Angeles City. To get the real story, you have to hit the ground. You have to walk down streets that were once the heart of foreign tourism and see the "for rent" signs, now sun-bleached and ignored. This is more than a low season. It feels like a fundamental shift. And it forces the question, what went wrong? For years, Angeles City was a playground for Westerners. It was a magnet for American, Australian, and British expats and tourists, drawn in by the low cost of living, the widespread use of English, and a kind of chaotic charm. The city's famous nightlife, centered on Fields Avenue, was practically built by them, for them. Today, those Western-owned bars are like ghosts of a party that's long since ended. Many shut down during the pandemic and never reopened. The expats who were once the city's lifeblood are now a vanishing breed. A lot of them are getting older, living on fixed incomes, and simply can't afford the city they helped put on the map. They're leaving, not just Angeles, but the Philippines entirely, seeking more affordable and stable shores in places like Vietnam and Cambodia. Walk into some spots on Fields Avenue today, and the message is clear. Westerners are no longer the main event. You hear stories of feeling tolerated rather than welcomed. This isn't just about changing times. It's about a community that feels it's been priced out and pushed aside by a new economic reality that has completely reshaped the city's identity. The second, and maybe biggest issue, is simple math. The reputation of the Philippines as a rock-solid budget destination is starting to crumble. Travelers are doing the calculations and finding that the cost advantage that once made the country a no-brainer has all but disappeared. Online forums and travel groups are buzzing with the same question. Why would I pay the same price here for less comfort when Vietnam or Thailand offer better service and infrastructure for less? And it's a fair point. Domestic flights can be expensive and unreliable. Hotels often match the prices of their regional competitors, but deliver dated rooms and spotty service. Even daily costs for things like food and groceries have climbed. What was once a haven for backpackers and long-stay expats now feels like a place where good value is getting harder to find. The phrase you hear whispered is overrated. People come expecting a budget-friendly paradise, and instead find themselves paying premium prices for an experience that doesn't always match the price tag. That widening gap between promise and reality is a dangerous flaw in such a competitive market. Beyond the cost, there's the sheer grinding frustration of getting around. The Philippines is an archipelago of breathtaking islands, but traveling between them can feel like a full-time job. Manila's main airport is still a notoriously chaotic bottleneck, an experience so stressful that many travelers now plan their trips specifically to avoid it. This isn't just a Manila problem. The country's poor infrastructure is tiring tourists out. Outside the major cities, roads can be rough and public transport is often a chaotic affair. Then there are the basics that travelers in 2025 take for granted: stable internet, reliable power, and clean water. Frequent brownouts and weak Wi-Fi aren't just minor annoyances anymore. For a growing wave of digital nomads and modern tourists, they're major roadblocks. While neighboring countries invest heavily in new airports and transport networks, the Philippines often feels like it's playing catch-up. Travelers remember the beauty, but they also remember the hassle. As one person online bluntly put it, "Love the people, hated the hassle." That one sentence perfectly sums up the tourism challenge. It's not about a lack of beauty. It's about the burnout that comes from the friction of just trying to get from A to B. Perhaps the most corrosive issue is the slow erosion of trust. For years, travelers have felt like walking ATMs. Perhaps the most corrosive issue is the slow erosion of trust. For years, travelers have shared that feeling of being treated like a walking ATM. It's a sentiment that comes from 1,000 little cuts: rigged taxi meters at the airport, two-tiered pricing at local markets, surprise fees, and petty theft. These aren't just financial hits. They create an emotional toll, killing the goodwill that is the foundation of tourism and making visitors feel like targets. But this trust issue has a darker side. A few years ago, a series of violent crimes targeting South Korean nationals, especially in and around Angeles City, sent a chill through what had become a dominant tourist community. Though the situation has stabilized, that perception of danger lingers, reinforced by official government travel advisories that are hard to forget. The effect was clear. South Korean tourist arrivals, once a booming market, saw a noticeable decline. The idea of the Philippines as a risky destination is a narrative that's hard to shake, and it affects how all tourists weigh their options. Safety is non-negotiable for travelers, and right now, the Philippines is seen by some as a gamble. The tourism scene in Angeles City has been a story of constant demographic shifts. As the Western crowd started to thin out, a new wave of South Korean tourists and investors swept in, changing the face of the city. Old bars were reborn as Korean BBQ joints and K-pop lounges. For a while, this new energy hid the slow exodus of the old guard. But now, that Korean wave is receding. The drop in South Korean arrivals, driven largely by those lingering safety concerns, has left a void. Making matters worse is the collapse of the Chinese market. Thanks to a government crackdown on offshore gaming operations, POGOs, and changes in visa policies, arrivals from China have fallen dramatically from their pre-pandemic highs. Angeles City, and the Philippines as a whole, is now facing a perfect storm. The gradual departure of Westerners, a sudden downturn in Korean visitors, and the near-total disappearance of the mainstream Chinese tourist. This has forced the industry to lean more heavily on domestic tourism just to keep the lights on. Behind all these numbers and trends are real people. Walk through the side streets of Angeles City today, and you can see the human cost of this slowdown. You see it in the half-empty bars where the staff watches the door, waiting. You see it in the faces of tricycle drivers hoping for a fare that might not come. You see it in the local shop owners who once served a bustling international crowd and are now fighting to stay afloat. The money from the previous tourism booms was never spread evenly. For every shiny new condo tower, there are countless families just trying to get by. And with fewer tourist dollars coming in, that struggle has only gotten harder. The famous Filipino hospitality, once a source of national pride, is being strained by economic fatigue. This isn't just about economics. It's an emotional crisis felt by every single person who depends on this industry to feed their family. So, is tourism dying in Angeles City? Dying might be too strong, but it is in critical condition. The city and the country is at a tipping point. The problem isn't the product. The beaches are still world-class. The people are still incredibly warm. But beauty and warmth are no longer enough to compete. The Philippines is being held back by long-standing systemic issues, inadequate infrastructure, a questionable value proposition, and a serious crisis of trust and safety. These problems aren't impossible to solve, but they demand real political will and an honest, unflinching look at the current reality. Without a serious crackdown on scams, major investments in infrastructure, and a visible commitment to keeping visitors safe, the slow decline is likely to continue. The Philippines has every ingredient it needs to be a premier global destination. But for now, travelers are voting with their wallets. And they're choosing to land in places where the dream of paradise doesn't come with so many frustrating strings attached. But that's our take. We really want to hear from you, especially if you've traveled to the Philippines or live there. Do you see it the same way? What have your experiences been like? Share your stories and your thoughts in the comments below. Your voice is a crucial part of this conversation. And if you found this breakdown useful, please give this video a like and subscribe for more deep dives into the ever-changing world of travel.